A multi-tentacled monster made from discarded plastic bags welcomed participants to this year's Green Week, which concentrated on the vital question of resource efficiency. In a world with a rapidly growing population, we need to use less and use it better.
We are not here to preach, we are here to listen and to hear the experiences, ideas, because the kind of activity which is connected with the resource efficiency should really go cross sectors and cross countries, cross regions. I think it's practically something which one cannot deal in different ways.
As delegates gathered for the opening speeches, minds were focused on the 3 R's of resource efficiency: reduce, reuse, recycle.
Resource efficiency, it's basically common sense. Let's make Green Week the real beginning of the real common sense revolution.
7 billion people want decent lifestyles. But today's so-called decent lifestyles are far too resource intensive.
200 years ago we invented the Industrial Revolution, and now in the 21st century it is as well our responsibility to invent a new industrial revolution, to clean up the environment and to preserve the ecosystems.
Making resource efficiency a blueprint for reflection and action, I think, is a major political choice.
Day 2 saw delegates getting to grips with the complex issues in earnest. This morning session opened with a quiz designed to focus minds on how to transform Europe into a recycling society.
We might want to go towards a lease society where we don't own products, we lease them, which means that we always can go back to the provider, to the producer, to get the newest state-of-the-art product.
Here, participants discussed efforts to phase out dangerous toxic chemicals.
If you've been doing something for free for a long time, like polluting the environment or giving people cancers, which are not your costs, then you're going to get away with it. And it's only when you internalise those full costs of producing something, consuming something and disposing of it into the market price of it, it's only then you give the incentives to change.
In this discussion, Poland's Environment Minister was refreshingly frank in his analysis of the task ahead.
We have to reduce consumption gradually, because this is going to destroy our economy, but through proper education of our society.
This session started out normally enough.
Nous sommes dans une bulle merveilleuse. Qui éclatera bientôt.
Until campaigners from this Belgian ecologist collective indulged in some impromptu theatre.
I think it's much better to talk with the business sector, to try to get the progressive part of the business sector on the side of the sustainable development.
On Wednesday evening, many delegates had a chance to see firsthand a concrete example of the kind of technology that could help us use less and live better. Solar Impulse is the largest solar-powered plane of its kind, and it was designed and developed in Europe. The visit ensured delegates were fired up for another full day of debates and discussions on Thursday.
The introduction of a CO2 tax element would help meeting the EU's high priority goals of climate change, energy efficiency and fair competition.
This session looked at the need to start considering waste as a valuable resource.
We really have to change the mindset. The mindset at the moment is in reducing and to be more efficient and to be less bad. What we want to be is positive, want to be more good.
Participants here heard that protecting the environment must be part of the bottom line for businesses.
Companies use ecosystem services like fresh water, food, fibre. These are organic chemicals. These are critical industrial inputs. If they don't understand where they come from and whether they're being sustainably managed and therefore will have an ongoing supply, you'll run out of a critical raw material.
And this session got to grips with the rebound effect.
Where you make something more efficient, you reduce its price, and because it becomes cheaper, we tend to use more of it.
As proceedings drew to a close, delegates gathered to hear a final round of rousing messages.
Resource efficiency, it's the next revolution that the planet needs and the world can pull off. And yes, it is a common sense revolution.
Business as usual will mean less well-being, it will mean a lot of change, it will mean more insecurity, and it will, by the way, also mean a lot of cost.
Towns will decide what the world is going to look like in the next century, and the Commission has recognised that.
If you want to win this green race, there is one thing you have to do more than anything, and that is to transform your home market.
If we think of business as usual, and both commissioners, I guess, mentioned that earlier on, going forward, then the situation, especially for advanced economies, looks blue.
We would need to fundamentally rethink some of our production and consumption patterns, and that's why I'm calling it a revolution. I think it's wise to call it also a common sense revolution, because in essence, doing that, it's really a common sense.
Leaving Brussels, no one was under any illusions about the size of the task ahead. But Green Week certainly seemed to have fired up participants with a renewed sense of purpose.